Hi guys, today we're going to show you how to scale up the card base and the mat layers for one project for the digital magazine. What we'd suggest is that you use the backing papers to do this rather than the Charisma files. It'll just make your life a lot easier when you're cutting it out in a bigger form. So we're going to go into retrieve data, we're going to go into our USB. I've got my Wild Fuchsia 1 folder that I'm going to click in. And then we're going to use these elements that are outside of the folders. These are usually called the detailed designs, but it's all the files to enable you to be able to scale things up. So we're going to click File 1, and this is going to be part of our card base. We're going to add that in. First thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure we just select everything. So we're going to go into, not that one, we're going to go into the group options. We're going to select all, we're going to click OK, and we're going to go into Object Edit and we're going to group all those elements together. So that's one part of the file. We're now going to go in and grab the next part. So we're going to go into Retrieve Data, into our USB, back into Wild Fuchsia, and this time we're going to click on the second file. That's going to load up this element here, so we're going to click OK. And then we're going to add in the next element. Not by doing that, by clicking Add, going into Retrieve Data, going into the USB, going to the Wild Fuchsia, and this time we're going to click on the third file. And that is all the elements for our card base. So now we're going to add in the mat layers. We're going to go to Add, we're going to go to Retrieve Data, into the USB, back into Wild Fuchsia. I'm going to go down to our fourth file, take the mat layer from there. And these are all the elements that we're going to use for this bit that we're going to scale up all together. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go into Edit, we're going to go into the selection options, we're going to select all, click OK, Object Edit, and then we're going to group all these elements together. You have to do this to make it so that it all scales as one unified item. So we're going to click then on the scale button at the top there. And in the SDX, you've got a choice of doing it by percentage, or you can do it by height and width. So we're going to go by percentage for the first part. So we're going to say we want our project to be, let's go up to 150% bigger. And we're going to click OK. And then we're going to ungroup the elements so they're all back to separate pieces. Click OK, click OK, and then we want to save this file either to USB or to Scan and Cut. So we click on Save, and I'm going to save it to my USB. All this means is that anything that you've got grouped is going to stay grouped. You're not going to be able to ungroup it again, which is why we ungroup it earlier on. So now we've ungrouped everything, we can click OK. And now it's saved the file to my USB. This means that we can retrieve the file back because we're going to delete elements of it as we go and cut the pieces out, because we can't cut all these pieces on one 12 by 12 mat. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into Edit. And we're going to use our arrow keys. They're going to allow us to go back through the layers so we can delete off elements that we don't want. So we're going to start off with the circle that we put on the top and delete that off. We're then going to delete off the next layer. There could be two pieces to that, so we're going to delete that again. And then we've got the score line through the middle, so we're going to delete that off as well. And now we're left with our first piece of our card base. Now what we can do is we can go to OK, click OK again, put some cards, put your backing paper onto your mat, load it into the machine and set that one to cut. For now, we're just going to back it back up again. We can now delete this element off our mat. Now we've cut that piece, and now we can retrieve data again, go into our USB, and we've got our file that we pre-saved earlier that's got all our enlarged elements on. So we can go back into there, click OK, and now it's loaded up all those same pieces at the scale that we've put them in. So we go back into Edit, and again, we delete off the layers that we don't want until we have the layer that we do want, and then we cut that piece out and we rinse and repeat this process going throughout the different layers. This means that everything is scaled up as one uniform object, so it keeps everything in line with what it should be. And it also makes life easier for you, not having to go in and rescale everything 150% each time. And it means that you've got a file saved with all these pieces on it, should you want to do the same project in the future.